Today's question is from Scott in Michigan. I have now been leading FPU for several years, so I'm well versed on what the Ramsey plan is for a ton of life situations. I now face a dilemma in my attempt to further my career. I have a lot of big banks, mortgage companies, and other such financial institutions at which I could work. I'm wondering, is there a moral or ethical issue with going to work for one of these institutions since they make their money by selling debt? I'm in IT, so I wouldn't have any direct involvement in the business side, but it still seems like it would be a conflict of principle. What are your thoughts? Well, Scott, in some ways you answer your own question here, because while it is in fact a dilemma because of what you believe, how you live your life, and how you're teaching others the Ramsey way, this is a dilemma, but it is not a moral, ethical issue. Period. End of sentence. There's nothing. You're not breaking the law. You are not doing anything that would even be considered a gray area from an ethical standpoint. However, this is a principle issue, and so you've got principle on one side, and you've got a legitimate way to work. You're in IT, and you can make really good money and do very well there. But this is not an ethical issue. It is a principle issue, and that's a difference. And so you've got to be able to live with you. Now,
let me give you an example of what I do on that. Okay. I endorse community banks.
Sure.
And credit unions in a lot of cities.
Right.
A lot of local radio stations sell ads with my voice that I endorse, and I do believe in them.
Yeah.
In community banks.
And Churchill
banks.
Mortgage, a mortgage company.
And I endorse Churchill Mortgage, and Mike Hardwick that owns Churchill is one of my best friends.
Yep.
And so now, what's the difference? I wouldn't endorse Bank of America for any amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
I would feel dirty.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I answer the question is, would I send someone there that I care about? Because I'm getting ready to send my listeners there, you guys out there. And if I would not send someone I care about there, then I don't need to send anybody there. That's hypocritical. Would I do IT work? Do you feel dirty when you get home because of the way that business is conducted, who they are, how they do business, the type of products they put out the door? So there's various kinds of debt products. There's various kinds of banks. There are banks like Bank of America where you're a number. All they see you as an opportunity to loan you money. SoFi, all their soft peddling, nurturing bullcrap at marketing is all about just trying to make you feel better about them trying to sell you debt.
Yeah.
And so I couldn't work for them. I certainly wouldn't endorse them, obviously. JP Morgan Chase. I'm not endorsing so I don't endorse any big banks, but I do endorse small banks, and I tell people not to borrow money. And isn't that weird? Well, you have a checking account there, you have some other things there. You could work in the mortgage business. We tell people not to take out a mortgage unless it's more than a 15 year, and if you got the money to pay cash, pay cash. And Churchill Mortgage goes along with that, so we endorse Churchill Mortgage, right? And have for 25 years. So I think you're fine. What it amounts to is are you being hypocritical?
Yes.
And the way you answer that is, would I send my best friend there?
I really like that. That's the slime ball test.
Yeah.
You know, if they're not a slime ball, then there's no issue. You're fine. Go do good IT work.
If I'm not working for a payday lender. Mm-hmm. They're taking advantage of the poor. Period. And there's not going to be any on this show. Ever, as long as I'm breathing. And that kind of thing. So that's but that's you're right. It's morals, ethics, and hypocrisy, and it is kind of a gradient all the way to principles. Mm-hmm. It is kind of a gradient there. If you work at Pizza Hut and they take Visa,
yeah,
that
doesn't mean that you're for credit cards
and you're waiting tables. Are you violating your financial peace when you raised your right hand and said, "I promise to never do debt and never do credit cards as long as I shall live," or whatever the Boy Scouts honor thing is, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And so, that kind of thing. Hold three fingers together, Put them up in the air, all that kind of stuff, right? So, but I don't borrow money, and I teach people this stuff. So if I took credit cards, that would be super bad, right? That would be inconsistent. I remember when I first started this, I went to a get out of debt seminar this guy had, and he sold a ton of books on credit cards at the back table during the break.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is so inconsistent.
That's correct.
And so, but we take debit cards here, and we tell you not to use your credit card. It's hypocritical. We do not need your money if you're borrowing money to buy our stuff. Do not borrow money to buy our stuff. That's ridiculous. It's, the stuff's at the library, and you can listen on for free on YouTube and on this show on your local radio station. So don't go borrow money to do it. If you want to enhance the process, and you have the money by buying a book or going to Financial Peace University or using Ken's assessment or reading one of his books to enhance the process to get a thing. But you don't need to go in debt to get a job.
No, not at all. And so this comes down to, again, what do I believe is right for me versus right and wrong?
Yeah.
That's you got to.
But if I'm hardcore Financial Peace University and I own a restaurant, is it bad for me to take credit cards? I don't think so.
No, not at all.
But if you're me and you make your living doing this, because I tell people, and then if I did, that would be backward, you know. So it's now if you believe you're bringing harm to someone and you're doing that intentionally, you will, in any business or in any position in any business, if you believe you're participating in that company doing bad things or something that's bad for people, then you're going to have a hard time succeeding at that. It's because your brain, it's called cognitive dissonance. Your brain works against itself. So don't try to do that. I don't care how much money you make, doing scummy things doesn't pay off psychologically in the long run. That's what it comes down to. It's a great question. What a great heart he's got.